I start watching these television shows and then turn them off because they're so horribly predictable. And as a writer, I can see every plot point coming well before it arrives, and I don't need to be there for the moment it comes. But this week, Blanche and I, stumbled upon a show that we had kind of watched the first episode a few years ago, and Blanche's memory is not great, so she doesn't remember very much of having watched it. And I remembered it was like I could watch part two. And it's called Bridgerton. So I'm not trying to sell a show to anybody. And those of you who look at me like, oh my God, Bruce, all I can tell you is season two is a love story. And what I want to talk about is love stories because the rooting interest in a love story is almost as great, if not even greater, than somebody surviving something. Love is so dynamic, so powerful, so interwoven in our genetic makeup that if there's anything we root for in life more than anything else, it's love, truly. And true love is like whatever that may be. A lot of us see passionate love, of course, and attractions and all of those different things that go on in a biological relationship. But this thing of love, whatever you want to call it, this knowing another, this attachment to another, this caring about another, is so potent in the human genome that if there's anything in the world we care about more than anything, it's that. And so this is an 8 episodes show. And of course, it's not till the eighth episode that this thing finally consummates itself. And the complications going into that are enormous. But I could not believe how much I cared about this happening. And I knew it would come together, but boy, the writers were good and they made it like almost impossible for it to happen. And I just kept watching and watching and going, how are they going to do this? And I like good writing and I like clever positioning of characters in ways that you go, I have no idea. But they did, and they made it work. And these characters coming together had a love that had to transcend so much material dynamic of the world around them and the righting of wrongs and the clarifying of issues and the making peace among so many people. And all these things had to happen in order for it to finally say, yes, we can do this. And there was even a kind of opposites attract, even though the opposites were familiar. So that's a kind of an old trope in writing, opposites, people who are seemingly opposite really have phenomenal connectivity and familiarity. So watching this show just opened me up more and more deeply to what we will call love. And as I was teaching class today, what I realized, not like it was new, but it was wonderful, was how much this is a love story. And it doesn't have anything to do with Bruce, really. I know I'm the person sitting here. But the big story here is that you are loved. You are loved in the most delicious, beautiful, romantic, remarkable, mystical, magical way imaginable. You are loved. And you're walking around probably feeling, what about me? Why is everybody else getting that? And you watch these stories and you root for all these people to have their moment of coming together. And then you go back into, but, and the experience I have teaching, which is a remarkable experience, was or is my opportunity, or the opportunity of this, and this is important, this source-like energy, this force field of energy, to come through and announce itself to you, to let you know it loves you. And it's not that it loves you if you become a good person or become that person, or if you change your life. It really just loves you exactly as the being sitting here right now. You don't have to do anything, period. It already is in play. It loves you. I get to experience that, and I go, I mean, it's so beautiful. It's like falling in love with everybody, which in a way is kind of what happens. But it is also a flow through, not a flow from. And it comes through and it looks at you and it goes, yes. But what it wants more than anything in the world is for you to feel it and reflect it back to its source, to tell that which has brought you into being that you love it too. That's the love story. The love story is not one-sided, it is two-sided. It is the love pouring through for you, and then you're going. And I only know from my own practice what that feels like, because the love of one's being, capital B, or source, or one's total essence is such an abstraction on some level. And it is known mostly in the material world when we love another person, because that concretizes it. It makes it real. We can go, oh, I get it. I love the way they look. I like the way they talk. They smile. They laugh. Whatever the thing is, you go, okay, that's how I recognize love. But this thing inside is very, very subtle. And I often sort of refer to things like this as the hug of your mother when you're born. It is just this unnameable, unknowable, unspeakable love, but it is absolute and complete. And this is what it feels like when it touches you. And does it want to return for that? Um, well, every good story wants a return. Every good story wants love to be completed. It's not that you are obligated to love your source or to love your being or to love yourself, whatever you want to call it, because that's not essential. Being loved does not always require a reciprocity. It's nice when it happens, and in Hollywood, it's the goal. You know, having it come back is really crucial. But the creative source, the creator, the energy that produces this love and loves you doesn't say you have to love me back. But I will tell you from my experience that when you look inside and touch it, when you look inside and go, it's really beautiful. When you have a gratitude for this love that is manifesting around you, through you, and in you, and you can acknowledge it, recognize it, and return it in a way, come together like the most beautiful love stories imaginable, there is this wholeness, this completion, this sense of arriving, the sense of having found yourself in some phenomenally beautiful way. And so many people struggle with that. They feel imperfect, unable, incapable of finding this thing in you and not even imagining that it's coming through to you. But all I can tell you, I sit here in this class and I feel this cosmic force, if you will, embracing you with so much love, you can hardly believe it. You can hardly believe it. And I know coming from Bruce, it sounds weird and looking at this old guy, you know, what's that about? But what the reality is it has nothing to do with this person. It has to do with what's called guru energy. Today's Guru Purnima, which is the day you sort of celebrate guru. Guru may appear to some people to be a person, but the guru really is the wise teacher that moves through the system into the manifestation of its own existence. And I've talked about this a lot because it's kind of so central now in my worldview that we are walking manifestations of divine being. That's what we are. And it makes us to know itself. It builds us so that it can witness its own truth. And each one of us, because it's so vast and so miraculous, each one of us is a completely different construct than everybody else because it is so absolutely not continually the same thing. It's all of us. And each one of us is a walking, talking, speaking, in loving, hating, dramatic manifestation of this source. And it knows itself looking through our eyes, breathing through our nose, hearing through our ears, and how we engage the world. That's how it knows itself. But it already loves us, even the worst of us. And I find that hard to accept because I'm a person who can go, I don't love that person for their actions and their activities or their belief systems, but that's my problem. This inner being loves its totality. And if you can find a way to turn back and embrace that, that is the best Hollywood story ever. For you to go, I love you too. I love you. I have always loved you. You have always been the love of my life. Trust me, if you can get into that idea in yourself, with yourself, which means this amorphous, unbelievable, silent, totally present, and tactile reality of your being. And if you want to know tactile, hug another person. If you want to know tactile, have a glass of water. If you want to know tactile, step into an air-conditioned house on a hot day. That feeling of, it cares, it cares. And then, not to get on the sidetrack, when you go off into the world of aging and dissolution, and tactile is not so wonderful, the only love and the only connection you will have really is going to be this love that already is there, already is in place, and absolutely will care for you until the last moment. And if you haven't found that love, if you haven't opened the door to that love, if you aren't willing to go, I love you, back, it won't go away, but you will be absent. You will not find it. It's two-way street. Love is connection. Just walking around loving the outside is fine. It's wonderful to love the world around you, but I will tell you, unfortunately, it's going to disappear. It's going to go poof, gone. Could be in a second, it could take a while, but it's going to go away. And what does that leave you with? Well, this body is a construct and it holds something in it that's precious. And that is this being that manifests through you and that is the source of, the core of, and the very environment of love itself. If you find that now, in this lifetime, while you're still here, if you find it by looking at others and connect that way, if you find it by looking at the sky and the trees, if you look at by meditating and sitting still for long enough and just going inside and going, ooh, that's surprising. What's there? If you just go inside and feel that thing, you will be lifted up and you will have a life that will fulfill you. It will be a Hollywood life. It will be filled with moments of real joy. It will at some point be filled with suffering because one loses the material outer version of that. But if you go deep enough inside, you will find the return to the infinite and eternal version of that love, which is animating you as I speak. You are loved. And I will tell you, my class is a love-making class. I make love with every one of you, and forgive me, it's not material. It is just emotional. It is energetic. It is remarkable. and it absolutely adores your existence. That's all I can tell you. You know, do I want to make love with all of you? Well, not exactly, but I, Bruce, am thrown out of the picture. I'm pushed aside, and this thing uses me after 50 years of getting out of the way to announce this to you. You are loved. You are loved. If you can carry that away from today, if you can trust me, if you can believe me, if you can even begin to feel that in some way in your day-to-day life, it will change how you live. It will change everything. And it will make it possible for you to get through days that are very hard and very difficult, the same way hugging your partner can help you do that. But your ultimate partner is not outside you, it is right within. And you are already half of the equation. You are already totally loved. Embrace yourself, embrace the love, embrace who you are, and find the totality of that. And the musical chords will come up, da 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 da, and you will have such joy and awareness that you have found your true partner, which is already who you are. That's yourself. And then you'll share that with everybody. And everybody around you will get to experience that love. Every hug you give will be filled with that love. Every handshake you give will have it. Every person you talk to across the table will experience it. The world will know it, and you will become a vehicle for, a vessel for this love that wants to know and feel and experience itself shared everywhere through you. You're the vessel. Be the vessel. Give the love, and be grateful that you have found somebody who can remind you that that's true. And that's your guru, you know, the person who reminds you of this. And the guru, truly, the guru is nobody. The guru is a voice. You know, you don't get caught up in guru. That's all, but just be grateful to know that somebody's pointing you in the right direction. So that's my talk, I guess, for today. One piece of um, information. This is going to hit a few of you, not most of you, because you're all so far away. The retreat class, the pilgrimage class to Big Indian, is going to be canceled this year for a lot of reasons, and I'm not going to go into all of it. But all I can tell you is I'm sorry. Those of you who plan to make the journey to Big Indian, and there are a few of you personally I should talk to directly, um, but mostly it's just not going to happen. We'll do it some other time, and I apologize to. I hope none of you have bought tickets, airplane tickets, and I hope you can get your money back. You know, if I'll help you pay for it if that's kind of what has to happen. But I wanted to let you know that. And you know, the only other thing is I recognize the atmospheric anxiety level that is happening everywhere I look. I went to a dinner party last night, and it was everywhere. And I can only tell you, I'm not unexposed to that. It's not that I don't feel so much of that anxiety. We live in a world of such uncertainty right now that it is really impacting a lot of our psyches. All I can tell you, and I'm not the best guide for this because I'm impacted as well. The one thing that gets me through is the very thing I was talking about in this class today. There is something deep inside us that is manifesting this world, that is manifesting the life we're in. It is a great writer. It's a great author. It knows what it's doing. I don't understand the story. I don't know quite where it's all going. I look at the history of the world as best the world has been able to teach it to me, and I see these patterns of contraction and expansion and moving forward and moving backward and all the different things that go on in the world. How to ride it out. I will tell you, love is one of the greatest resources imaginable for yourself, for one another, for community, holding hands, sharing, being together. I've talked about this before. I won't talk about it more because it's going to get more intense. And this is a time to breathe your way as best you can through the outer changes of the world, both politically and environmentally, and then the ones that are happening in your own mind and body. You have to find, if you can, the ability to go inside and go, okay, okay. You may have to do it a lot, but you can get there. You can arrive at, okay. Every moment will have its own truth. Every moment in the world that we're in a time we're not used to, which is a lot of upheaval. Stay centered, stay quiet. If you want to reach out, call me. I mean, I'll do my best to talk you back into quietude and to tell you you're loved. But you can do that to yourself, and you can really do that for each other, the people around you, because it's necessary right now that you become a vehicle for the help of others by helping yourself. And the real help comes from going inside. The real help comes from going deep inside. The guiding forces of this universe are not separate from you. They are deep inside. Take a breath, ask for help to surrender, let go of all of your crap and all that stuff, and just go, okay, I wish you well. And next week, we will continue this same old, same old. And I know if trust me, if this, I said this before, if this is getting repetitive and dull and you don't want to hear it anymore, move on. Go to other sources, or go wherever you want to go. But if this is working at all, you're welcome. You're always welcome here. Thank you very much. Lots of love.